Hey everybody, Mary from Blooming Rose Healing and the founder of Whale Breathing. So yesterday I got to spend some time with my mother, and she has Alzheimer's. I think a lot of you know that. And I was just kind of, she's getting pretty far along with the disease of Alzheimer's. And I was just kind of sitting with her and watching her breathing and realizing, wow, it's really shallow. Her breathing's really shallow. I also was aware of how her motor skills, I mean, obviously my mom she just had her 90th birthday in April. And my mom, for most of her life, was in incredible shape, had a great life, very, very amazing woman. She was a therapist, and she really helped touch many people's lives with her wisdom. And the one thing, though, that my mom also struggled with is, and I'm sure having 7 children helps, she was very anxious. She always got anxious and kind of panicky and anxiety. And through, so her stress level, I mean, even though she was very, for the most part, she was a pretty calm, cool, but when she got nervous, she got nervous. Bless her heart. And it was more about, being a mother of 7 children and then the grandchildren. And it's almost like your heart just goes way out there as we grow up, as we raise. And all of you watching that are mothers and fathers understand that. Allowing our children to grow up and move on. But what I'm aware of through the research that I passionately do to help all of you guys and people that are really wanting to bring more vitality and richness into their life through breath, I'm always searching. And I came across this interesting information about the brain. And we have a lot of our nervous system, which is coming out through that brain. If it's in a very fear or flight energy, it creates a lot of stress within the body, right? And where does that stress come moving from is the brain not getting enough vitality. And as we age, as I remind you all, we age, and there's a percentage of us, 93% shallow breathers, which is a high percentage. And what does that mean? We're in a very fear or flight breath, which is very So one of the things that is interesting is lack of oxygen within the body is even more so in the brain. The brain is the biggest organ, and it needs, because of all the work, it's not the biggest organ, but it does need the most oxygen because the brain, think about your brain and what it does, the work that brain does. With the nervous system, the motor skills, our thinking, our I can't think of it, but I know it, it does a lot. And that brain and the capacity of what we use of the brain is not very much. I mean, our brain is amazing. And do you know that it needs 20% more oxygen than the rest of our body? One, because of all what like I just shared, it's doing a lot. 2, it's also the farthest organ from diaphragm, meaning the diaphragm is in our center in that brain. And when you're doing shallow breathing, there's not even oxygen getting up there. And how long does it take? So, like when people get knocked out and lose breath, 5 to 7 minutes and then you're brain dead. It might be just 5 minutes. But the point of my today's lesson is I think you're all worth coming once in a while to virtual breathing. What I'm doing is trying to educate people and giving them a half hour once a week to bring in some oxygen and understand how the breath works. Because if we don't know how to use our breath and our diaphragm, which is one of the most important muscles in our body. It is the most important because you know why? It's the muscle that brings in oxygen and releases metabolic waste. And we as human beings need that movement within our body. And we need the opportunity to find and meet calm. Stress and panic, anxiety, go, 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 go. All of that creates stress. And what I'm trying to do is help people to understand that it is safe to pause, to take a minute for you, a half hour once a week, to come, breathe. Even if you can't make it at that time, you buy it, you get a recording, you do it. Because I'm going to give you guys a little information about the whale. How is it a whale can stay underwater for 15, depending on the type of whale, between 15 and 35 minutes? Because when they're up above and they know how to work with breath and they do voluntary breathing, they work, and what happens is they are able to store oxygen within the body. So when they're below and their body needs to come up for more air, that oxygen is released in the body so they have the time to come up. I don't know if there's been research about that, but I know with free diving, they do a lot of breathing exercise to create more oxygen within the body because the body needs oxygen. That's what keeps us alive. Our brain needs oxygen. So what I say is, what is probably one of the most powerful self-healing modalities we have is our breath. But the problem is, do we know it's not just breathe. It's just breathe, but like this. Because a lot of us don't know how to breathe and to become conscious of it. And how do I work it? So I feel, because of my compassion and willingness to learn everything I can about breath, that I feel like a breath specialist, the breathwork specialist. I understand it. I also practice this work. And it's interesting because if we don't work, just like if you don't go work out, you lose your muscle mass. If you don't use your diaphragm, you lose the flexibility. Flexibility is huge in diaphragm because we want that contraction and expansion to be strong. And we want our brain to feed beautiful oxygen to it. And what's interesting, after the age, I can't remember what the age is, but it's young adult, we start losing 7% of our mass use of brain. 7%, that's a lot. I think it's worth breathing, don't you? So if you guys are looking for something to do, or you need a pause, especially as we're going into the holidays, and letting ourselves really meet the calm of the storm, stop on by and come breathe with us. And like I said, if you can't make it, it's recorded, and you have the opportunity to have that breath session for 24 hours and give your brain vitality, oxygen. So thanks for stopping by, and I hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week and just giving people a little nugget of education about our amazing diaphragm, our body, our breath. Have a wonderful day and take care.